Hi, friends. Welcome back to another exciting episode of The Acts of Becoming. And it's so lovely to have you here with me today. Today, we're going to be diving into a life changing subject, habit stacking. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Theresa Odu, and welcome to the Acts of Becoming podcast. This podcast is meant to empower us on the journey towards becoming the best version of ourselves. This podcast embraces the reality that the best version of yourself is not a destination, but rather the journey. And it teaches us what we need to know spiritually, physically, financially, mentally, mindset wise, self development, and everything that takes us from who we are currently to becoming the best version of ourselves. And I'm so honored that you get to be part of this journey with us. So if you haven't already, do hit the subscribe button, like this video, leave your comments, check out my other platforms, and let's be friends. You watching this video right now tells me a lot about you, and I want to go first by affirming to you that you're just a person who wants better for yourself, who wants the best for yourself. And I'm so proud of you for that, because you could have done any other thing with your data on Spotify. You could have hit that playlist that you love a lot, or you could have searched up a music video, or you could have watched a random movie, but yet you decided that how am I going to change my life with one simple step? I'm so proud of you, and I know that you would not leave this podcast the same way you joined. So, today we're going to be talking about habit stacking. Habit stacking is a simple yet life changing art or skill, if I may call it that. So, the first time I heard about habit stacking was when I read Atomic Habits. If you haven't already, it's a lovely book by James Clear. Do check it out. Habit stacking, it's life changing. Imagine transforming your whole life but not breaking down, not crashing out, just because you're incorporating one thing at a time, a habit at a time. So that's what I'm going to walk you through, how to properly stack up habits, because currently we're in the last phase, the last lap, the last quarter of the year. So how do we build this habit? How do we lock in? How do we change our entire routine? How do we transform our life without crashing out, without burning out? So that is what this podcast is going to be teaching you today. So what is habit stacking? Habit stacking is the act of attaching a new habit, linking, connecting a new habit to something you usually do daily. And that's literally just the power of habit stacking. So I want to change my life. I want to start a new routine. I don't want to be lazy no more. I want to be productive. Rather than just changing my entire routine, my brain is going to crash out. It's going to be like, what is going on here? So rather, what do? I try to link something before something I usually do, or after something I would usually do. So for me, I remember the time, I think this is 2023. I feel like I my transformation have started internally before 2023, because but I like to point at 2023 because that was when I was courageous enough to start acting on this transformation, and I feel like that was when it started showing in me. There was a time, right, where I struggled with inconsistency. Not to say I don't still struggle with it, but it's better. Now I have non-negotiables in my day that no matter the form and shape my day is going to take, whether productive, whether a lazy day, I'm going to do those things. And how was I able to incorporate this to be a part of me that I don't see myself doing without it? It's by habit stacking. I remember when I wanted to read the Bible, the New Testament, I would wake up in the morning and just read. That was before I pick up my phone. I was like, oh, before you pick up your phone, you're going to read one chapter a day. No, to be fair, I think I said half a chapter a day. So I decided very small, half a chapter a day, so that I don't promise myself and fail, because we don't want to make promises to ourselves and not keep it, because then it's going to cause us to lose faith and cause a lack of belief in ourselves. So what did I do? I was like, I'm going to read half a chapter a day before I pick up my phone. Because like every other use, I was addicted to my phone. So I would go on and on and on. So because I know I would pick up my phone, so I did it before I pick up my phone. So that was one way I was able to build journaling. I would say, okay, I would journal when I formed the habit of always reading my Bible. I was like, oh, the next thing I want to do is journal. So after I read my Bible, I would journal before I pick up my phone. So now it was Down, read the Bible, journal, and pick up your phone. When I want to exercise, I'll say, oh, okay, read the Bible, journal, exercise, then pick up your phone. Because I know my phone is something I'm addicted to. My phone is something I want to pick up. But if I can keep on pushing my phone, picking up my phone further, I'll be able to do more things. So what are things I do after I pick up my phone? Oh, I do things like, oh, before after I pick up my phone, the first thing I do is probably listen to gospel music or listen to a podcast and learn from the phone before doom scrolling on social media. That was ways in which I was able to incorporate habit stacking in my personal life. So why does habit stacking work? It's because it builds a pattern, right? The brain loves pattern. Like it loves pattern. It loves that you are in a bubble, that nothing is threatening your reality. So when you bring a lot of new habits and you just want to bring down the building and recreate at once, it's going to defend you. It's going to protect you because it's going to think, oh, she must be under a reed, right? Or he must be under a reed. But do you know how to win the brain? Is to come up to it unsuspectingly. Yes, unsuspectingly. Unsuspectingly. Yes. So, how are you going to do that, may I ask? What do you usually do? I want you to take out your take out time. Think of your day. What are the things I usually do on default? I want you to actually think about it and write it down because you may say, "Oh, I'm not consistent," but trust me, you're consistent in something. You're consistent in scrolling your phone. You're consistent in eating junk. You're consistent in leaving your room tattered. Consistency does not lean towards being good. Consistency is just an act of doing something repeatedly to inform a pattern. So whether it's good or bad, it's still consistent. So every one of us were consistent in doing something. I'm consistent in doing something. You're consistent in doing something. And but the issue now is you do not like what you're consistent in doing. I do not like what I'm consistent in doing. So I want to change it. And I've tried. I'm sure every one of you here have tried, but I always feel overwhelmed and I always fall off being consistent. I always fall off. I normally go back on things I said I was going to do. How can I change this? This is where habit stacking come in. So, and this is one of the reasons why habit stacking work. Because number one, like I said earlier, your brain loves pattern. Because habit stacking creates triggers. You don't need to rely on motivation. Most times, I remember in school, because I'm a girl that loves the Lord. I love the Lord. And I usually go for weekly activities, Sunday activities. I usually try to clean up the church, do other things, teach the kids and all of that. I remember this particular time I was in school and I slept. I slept until 7, and usually by 7 I would go for Bible study. Do you know I literally slept walk to the church? Like I just woke up, put on my dress, and was going. I woke up from sleep for crying out loud. I could have made the excuse that, oh, I'm not going to church, I'm not going to do all of that. But guess what? Because it was not something that I could not do without. It's almost as if I was addicted to it. I went, you know, to church without even realizing, without needing any motivation. I just went. So that's something that habit stacking does for us. It creates that trigger to do this, wake up, do this, do this, do this. You don't need any much motivation. So another of the reason why I believe habit stacking work is because it reduces decision fatigue. Nobody on this planet Earth love making decision on a regular basis. What do I eat? What do I wear? How did I do? What So it reduces that fatigue. You don't have to think about what do I do? How do I go about it? Especially if it's new, it's a new habit. You have to start to get to understand the habit and try to figure out how to build it. But once we habit stacking, you don't have to think, when do I do what? You just know that, oh, okay, before I pick up my phone, like my example, and that was a very pretty example. I was trying to reduce my screen time. I was like, before I pick up my phone, I'm going to read my Bible. I did that and I was consistent to the extent that I don't cannot pick up my phone without picking up my Bible. Then I was like, I want to journal. So I was like, after I pick up my Bible, which was now a fixed habit, I was going to journal. And after I journal, I was going to use my phone. I continued with that routine. And it was then a fixed habit. Then I was like, you know what? I want to exercise daily. What did I do again? Yes. Pick up my Bible, journal, do exercise before pick up my phone. Because I know I was going to pick up my phone eventually. We all have that dopamine rush when we pick up our phone. And I told myself, you know what? When I pick up my phone, I'm not going to just scroll straight to social media. I'm going to listen to a podcast. And you know what? I did it. Built it, built it. I was like, okay, when I'm going to the office, rather than sitting down in transport, in transit, scrolling through social media, scrolling through TikTok, I'm going to listen to a podcast. And I did. And all of this changed the trajectory of my life. So that is another reason why I can boldly sit here and prove to you that habit stacking works. And you do not feel overwhelmed. You do not feel overloaded. You don't feel like you're going to crash. You don't feel like it's impossible. You don't feel like you're doing too much. And another fascinating thing about habit stacking is that it also reminds me of Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7. As we all know, this is a Christian podcast, a faith-based podcast. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 7, where the Bible tells us to weave his word into our daily activities. So I literally believe that for me, this looks like setting alarms. 12 sometimes, I think 12 most times. I try to switch it off. Once it's 12, I try to say a prayer or remember what I read during my devotion, just to kind of bring God into our everyday life. Because trust me, the secret to a good life is one with a relationship with God. So that begs our next question. How can I've heard what you're saying, Teresa. How can I start habit stacking? I personally believe like by now you would have known how to do it from what I've said so far. But if you haven't, trust me, I'm a girl, I'm a friend, and I got you. So what are we going to do to start habit stacking today? Remember the list I asked you to make on what your daily routine looks like. Even though you feel like you don't have any routine, I said the fact that you wake up in the morning and take 3 more naps before you wake up and take another nap is a routine. The fact that you wake up and just drink coffee is a routine. The fact anything you do consistently, daily, is a routine. The fact that you walk is a routine. So I want you to make a list of that, right? We're going to use a sandwich method and any way you prefer. If you're going to start a new habit, if you're someone that you discover that, oh, all my habits are trash and they're no longer serving me, I want to let go of it. I want to build a new habit. Don't just tear down the entire house. No. You're going to start by creating habits, small habits, right? Let's say you want to build a habit of reading. Just take for my example, I wanted to build a habit of building a relationship with God. And I was like, rather than saying a chapter a day, I said half a chapter a day. And that was a very small way of building my habit until now I can sit and read through like 2 chapters, even though I try not to overread, just like that. So I want you to identify some key non-negotiables in your life. For me, this look like devotional, like Bible study, journaling, exercise, work, personal development, and business building. So I think these are my and study because currently I'm reading for an exam and studying. So these are my non-negotiable. No matter what other thing happened during the day, whether I put on a productive day and on a non-productive day, these things are going to happen. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to read my Bible. I'm going to pray. I'm going to have my quiet time with God. I'm going to journal. I'm going to exercise. I'm going to create a to-do list if I haven't from the previous day. I'm going to learn something new. I'm going to work on my self-development, which I do by reading self-development books. I'm going to create something for my brand and my business I'm trying to build. And I'm going to work because someone has to pay the bills. Yes, so that's my non-negotiable. So you have to look for anchors in your day. What are you looking to achieve? What are you looking to develop? You can steal mine. I feel like it's pretty simple. But don't make the mistake of building them at the same time. Start with one. Once you're very convinced with one that you do not need motivation to do it anymore, that is now your cue to add on the second one. And that brings me to the sandwich method I was talking about earlier. What is the sandwich method? Is the bread, the sandwich, the bread, the butter, and the bread. So it can be your old habits, the new habits, the old habits, or it can be the new habits, the old habits, the new habits. So you can do it after the old habits or before the new habits. So anyone who works for you or serves you better. And I must also put a disclaimer here to say that nothing is going to be fixed. One thing about we human is that change is constant, and so are things that serves us. So if doing things your old habit before your new habit is what works for you as a beginner, maybe when you've managed to get a hang of it, you notice that, oh, you can do two new habits before one old habit, like my example. So it's a progress, it's a journey, it's a process, and you've got to learn to stick with it. Another step you can take towards habit stacking is making them realistic. Yes, we want to be as delusional as possible. We want to dream big, but there is a limit to being delusional. You have to set realistic habit stacking. Don't stack too many at a time. Like I said, don't make the mistake of saying, "Oh, I see my celebrity or my mentor wake up in the morning by 5, do this, do this, do this," and you say, "Oh, you know what? Let me do this, do this, do this." No, you have to start one at a time, two at a time, but never more than three at a time and small. And do you know what my favorite part about habit stacking is? Oh my God. Is the fact that when I eventually pick up the phone and it's time for me to scroll through social media, I'm going to give myself a feast. So to me, that was a way I started celebrating as a beginner. But now I would give myself other things like words of affirmation. I'm so proud of you. You did very well today. Can you believe you did this and this and this? And finally, have a checklist because your brain takes pride in checking off those little boxes. You're like, oh, devotion, done, done, done. And guess what? On the day where you check off all your boxes, you can get yourself a treat and say, you know what, today I'm going to eat something that I find palatable. Anything that can be for you. You can even have like a treat jar where you put list of things you'd want to do for sticking consistently to your goal, weekly, monthly, any way that motivates you to just give you that ginger. So guys, I want you to click on the comment section and comment what is one habit you're going to try stacking and incorporating this week, or better still, what are habits you're looking to incorporate into your life, and what are the others you're going to incorporate them into your life. I want to know, we want to know, the community wants to know. I challenge you this week to try and stack one. So you have to put that one there. You're going to try stacking out this week into your habit, trying to incorporate into your routine. I would also like to add that if you're new to my podcast or if you've been in my podcast, I would always encourage you to have a notepad where you can write things. And for today, my takeaway for you is to write, after I brush my teeth, I would drink water. Because I know some people don't drink water and you're trying to increase your water intake. But after I brush my teeth, I'll take water. Or after I exercise, I would brush my teeth. So after I current habit, I will new habits. So let us keep it simple and small till it becomes a part of our routine. And yes, I want to see that comment rolling. I want to see the like. I want to see the share. I want you to share this too a lot of people, because we all need it. I need this because I'm going to watch this again and again and again and again. So with that being said, we've come to the end of today's episode. I'll leave the this to all my social platforms in the description box, and I would appreciate and would love to see what you're working on, so you can share with me personally your habit stack if you don't want to leave it in the comments section. And remember guys, consistency is never about doing everything at the same time. Like I said earlier, it's about doing small things at a time till it becomes a pattern and becomes an action that starts to shape who we are, or who we are into who we intend to become. In Galatians chapter 6, verse 9, and it goes on to say, let us not grow weary in doing good, for in due season we shall reap if we do not give up. And this is to say that your habits, your little habits, ends up becoming seeds, or as seeds that we also into our future self. And our future self is going to be so glad that we did. And I also want to point out that if you've been following me on this podcast, you would notice how I'm very different from who I was when I started this podcast. And that is the evidence of seeds that have been sown into my life. And I hope that that transformation happens for you as well. Friends, thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you were transformed, and really hope that this episode have been able to leave you with more clarity, more accountability than you had. Thank you for joining me in today's episode. I really hope that you learned a lot from today's episode, because I did. And now I'm thinking of what habits am I going to incorporate into my day to day life, because I need to pick up the slack. And remember, guys, we are at the final lap of this year. And remember that anything is possible if we just lock in. October, November, December, our life can still take a 360 turn. And I'd like to close like I always do. Always remember that you are the main character of your story, and imagine a story where the main character does not sin. Always live in alignment with your authentic self so that the blessings that are meant to find you will find you. And with that, see you next week. Bye.